BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe. It is week 506 here at BodyBags. It is the first week of July. Happy 4th of July for those of you stateside here. We've got that to celebrate on Tuesday. It is random week, the first week in July here at BodyBags. I'm your regular Wednesday evening host here at BodyBags. Going random, right? And I thought I was going to do a film. I thought I was going to do Aftershock, and that's going to be 2 weeks from now. I decided I just could not get Evil Dead Rise out of my mind, and so I decided we just did a podcast I was part of a Friday night on the Evil Dead franchise. And so fresh in my mind, and just getting it, on physical media. Here's my ticket from seeing it theatrically. Apparently, when this movie was first being prepped, made, pre-production, the idea, I think, was just HBO Max streaming. And when Warner Brothers started screening it, realized what kind of a movie they had on their hands, and decided to go theatrical, but this meant they weren't prepped for a physical media release in terms of the extras, which is a real shame because you got Weta involved and just a lot of opportunities for some really good stuff here. Lee Cronin, director commentary, which there is on the UK release though, so I'm not sure exactly why we don't have it, which is a little irritating. And his short film got put on, and that is the UK release of this film. If you want to see a short film, Ghost Train, you look it up on YouTube. Anyhow, and so, that is the state of physical media at the moment. You never know what you're going to get anymore. But thank God we got a physical media release of this, even though it's just the film, which I am extremely high on. I think I gave it a 9.4 out of 10. Now, remember, this is within the context of the greater franchise, thinking about the franchise. But I'm pretty high on this. This is awesome. So Evil Dead Rise, 23 film, Lee Cronin. You've got, I'm just going to, not really spoilers, but I am just going to touch on some things a little bit. You got a wraparound thing, which brings in the title sequence ultimately, and you got three characters, Teresa, Caleb, and Jessica. We will find out, I believe it's Jessica. We will find out why she's there, why they're there, at the end of the film. But we have our sort of first expression of the Evil Dead being unleashed is here in this beginning of a wraparound. But we'll be catapulted back to about a day prior to see how it really is unleashed. And there you will get your principal family characters of Ellie, the mom, who is Alyssa, Sutherland, Danny, the boy, who is the I want to be a disc jockey someday, and it's his affinity, love for vinyl that will ultimately usher in this demonic presence, right? Bridget, Gabrielle, Echols, and the youngest of the bunch, Cassie, played by Nell Fisher. Great dynamics within the family, including Beth, who plays the estranged sister of Ellie, who shows up hoping to get some moral help with an issue that she is dealing with, not realizing that Ellie is dealing with her own junk. Dad has just left them, and their building they live in has been condemned and is going to be torn down, which means they have to move and find a place to live. And so, you have a lot of that stuff going on. So Beth shows up, and that becomes sort of the vehicle, the conversation they have to catch up because they haven't talked in a while. It sends the kids off to get pizza. When they return, there's a minor earthquake. It creates a hole in the parking garage where they park. And further investigation, because kids are curious, they knew there was supposedly a bank vault lying underneath the foundation of this place. And so down there is where we find the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, along with a couple vinyl pieces, which has some of the creepiest, best reciting of the lines I think we have ever had. I love the reel-to-reel recorder in part 2. I think that is awesome. But here you have apparently you have a pastor who is a reverend of sorts, a pastor who has decided there's too much at stake not to open up this book and recite the words, negating the dynamic quality of it, which makes no sense, which tells you this pastor is working out in left field anyways. And of course, you get a cameo appearance off via the vinyl, a voice, and we'll leave it at there, which is just absolutely awesome. They call it the Book of the Dead for a reason, destroy it, kind of thing. It's awesome. And so when we finally get to that point where the book is open, and this is, that's been said now of recent, with the 13 remake, which really is the most not Evil Dead film of the Evil Dead canon. This one actually tends to work off of a few things done in that remake, which I find really fascinating and quite frankly good. Because now that we have this issue, if you remember in the Army of Darkness, the 3 books lined up, we have 3 books and 3 so-called universes. I don't know if they're really universes per se, but 3 books. And if you know anything about the history of the Necronomicon via H.P. Lovecraft, you know that there are multiple editions of this book at different places around the world or whatnot. And so you really could do different universes without there being a different universe, so to speak. But it all takes place. It's contained horror. We were told in the beginning, there was rumors abounding that this was going to be a nod to Demons 2, which had me jacked up. Really doesn't end up being like that, although it does lend itself to something like that maybe later on in a follow-up, maybe, possibly. But it is contained to one floor of this apartment building. Obviously, in terms of the wraparound, we know this thing will be... I just don't want my screen to disappear here. It will do that. The evil will get outside of the building structure, right? But for the film in question, it really is contained to this floor, which is a lot of throwbacks in here. Because of the earthquake, the stairs are washed out, like the bridge is washed out, so they can't get across the river. A lot of things like that. Really, unlike the remake, it does feel like an Evil Dead movie, man. It's more playful in the sense that the demons taunt and play. There's this great moment, hallway scene, where it's a huge throwback to the Dead by Dawn. And you get a lot of the transforming demons in the hallway starting to chant, "Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn." Just awesome stuff. Excuse me. As I said, the Wet Shop is involved. The practicals are insane. The makeup is insane. I throw this up there. Obviously, it's hard to outdo Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn with the work of K&B and Mark Shostrom. The work on Henrietta alone, Ted Ramey's performance in that suit is just amazing. But Ellie's performance, the physical work she puts in as the mom gone demonic, is pretty amazing as well. And the others who turn, Bridget's character is pretty awesome. And it's just... I'm trying to stay away from spoilers, so to speak, but it is an Evil Dead film. I mean, come on. And so, the evil will be unleashed. I got to talk about the cinematography. Is freaking out of this world. It's awesome. The score is lights. Neither of these people I was familiar with. But I have to just say this: the score and the cinematography is absolutely. Look, if you have not picked this up from Walmart yet, you really need to. If you're a fan of the Evil Dead, if you somehow you missed out on the theatrical and you didn't see it, and this is the only way you can see it, I get it. It's streaming for free on HBO Max. Maybe watch it first on there. Be convinced. Go buy it. It really needs to be. And if you just so happen to have your ticket from the theater, tuck it in there, man. It's just. I think the role of Danny is pretty cool. You can, unlike a lot of aspects of the remake, you can buy easily in this. His opening up the book, his putting the vinyl on, in which we have the translation, and the Ellie's initial transformation is a nod to the earlier Evil Dead films, the vine attack sequence, right, where the trees come alive, kind of thing. But it takes place in an elevator, and so it's different, but it's there. And I'm trying to think. God, we talk so much about this stuff on the show Friday night. I guess just a couple things. I think the gore, man, the gore level is out of this world, man. It is, where there just seemed in the remake, there wasn't much life in it. It wasn't as playful, I guess. I can't think of another word for it. In this one, it just seems more fun. You're just having a blast. You're having fun. And it is serious because you're talking family dynamics and family who is being come by this demonic force and ripped apart. And to see that but that's where you have, when you have the demons who, seem to taunt in a playful way. It's not quite as harsh as the 13, nor as harsh, say, as the original Evil Dead. It strikes a unique balance where it becomes just fun. It's a fun movie. And you feel for the characters, though. Don't get me wrong. But by the end of the film, as you're making your way back into the wraparound, you've just had a blast. In fact, I think even towards the end of the film, it's sort of a nod to the 13 remake. And, of the three books, this one seems to be the evilest. If that's a word, that seems to be the most evilest. Look, I had an absolutely fantastic time in the movie theater. I had an absolutely fantastic time revisiting it on physical media. I actually saw it on HBO Max first, and then decided, since we were doing the podcast, to grab my copy. Now, we hope there will be a boutique label like Scream Factory said that will come along and swipe this up at some point and fill it up with the much needed extras, say commentaries. I would even love to hear Bruce Campbell and Tappert on, and maybe even Sam Raimi. All three. I would love those three on a commentary for this film. Would be absolutely awesome. There's a vision, I think, that goes past this film of stuff that I think they probably want to do, although we don't really know what it is. You kind of got a sense that it's there nonetheless. I thought initially with the theatrical viewing that the wraparound was the weakest part of the film. I still think it's probably the weakest part of the film, but it does offer up opportunities and possibilities of where do we go now into another film. And this really does need to be its own trilogy. It needs to be a trilogy. Kind of like in a better way, like Scream, how 4 is the bridge between two trilogies. This really, the 13 remake needs to be a bridge of sorts between two trilogies. This needs to be the first film of a trilogy. And where that trilogy, maybe a not so different thing than maybe a return to Army of Darkness. I don't know, or something different but the same. You see what I'm saying? Mia has got to come into this at some point. Bring Mia into this trilogy. She is, once you get past the drug metaphor of the remake, she is the best part of I mean, she carries that movie great towards its rollicking end. And her fight against the abomination, was it, where the sky just pours blood, and she needs to make her way back in this. Bruce needs to find his way in here somehow. Albeit I get it, he doesn't want to carry a movie probably anymore, but he needs to find a way in here somehow as the granddaddy of the Evil Dead franchise. At some point he needs to. But where it ultimately goes, we'll find out. But I was, with the makeup, the gore level, the score, the cinematography, I walked out of the theater feeling way better about this movie than I did with the remake, I'll say that. And so if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. And if there's any way you can order the UK release, you'll have a commentary track and you'll have his short film. But his short film is on YouTube if you can't do that. I can, but I just chose to go this route. Eventually there'll be other releases down the road, and they'll be fun, I'm sure. So Evil Dead Rise, man, what'd you think? Hit that sub, hit the like, comment below, let me know. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.